Hello all, see you again in our 2021's movie collection, The Swan Song. Alright, before we start the story of this movie, don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss the updates from our channel. A man named Cameron Turner is on a train when a robot offers his service. He gets coffee and an Echo Choco bar. Then a woman sits right in front of him. He makes a sketch of that woman and shares the same Choco bar he gets from the robot. Thinking that the Choco bar should be his, he then realizes that it's the woman's. He then wakes up on a chair in a room. He gets home to the woman in his memory, who now becomes his wife. He gets in the bathroom and suddenly passes out. He's terminally ill, and it needs to be treated as soon as possible. Cameron then goes to an island and reads a non-disclosure agreement related to Cameron and Era Lab. They're talking about a man named Jack. They then meet with Dalton. Dalton tells Cameron to disable the camera function in his watch and contact lens. After that he goes into a room adjacent to Dalton's. Inside is a man with exactly the same features as Cameron. But they have modified the DNA so that it won't have the same illness with Cameron. After seeing his clone, Cameron hesitates and says that he won't do a change with the clone. The doctor reminds Cameron that if his wife knows his illness, then the clone won't have a chance to substitute him. Cameron then has a meal time with Corey while Poppy washes the dishes. They accidentally talk about Andre who has died and how Cameron stops using his pencil after that. In his working room, Cameron gets a video call from his colleague. She says that Cameron should start working on the project even in his morning situation. Then a message from Dr. Scott makes him remember about his talk with Andre before he died. In his memory, Poppy kind of agrees on a clone substituting her mother if it means having her with them. Cameron then meets with Dr. Scott. He says that he wants to get Poppy's permission before starting it. But Dr. Scott says that it won't be safe for her to know about this. Dr. Scott then offers Cameron to meet one of the clones named Kate, who has gone through her life without knowing that she's a clone. He then comes home and wants to talk to Poppy about his diseases and the clone. But then, he can't keep going on the way. Because Poppy starts to talk about the baby that they're going to have, and he just can't keep going. He then informs Dr. Scott that he's changing his mind. So Cameron comes to the island and meets with a real Kate. He went through the process to instill his memory in the clone. For this process, he has to go through his memory lane once again. He remembers her second meeting with Poppy, their life together, and the sadness of losing Andre, Poppy's twin brother. When the process to get Cameron's memory is done, the clone wakes up. While Cameron is having a game with his son, Dr. Scott tells the clone everything. She tells him that the only thing that is different between him and the real Cameron are the freckles. And that he gets a great deal here. When playing a game with Corey, Cameron has a seizure. He ends the call, and when he wakes up, it's already the next morning. Dr. Scott says that the seizure can kill him while he's in the facility. So they keep going with the process. Cameron meets with Jack, his clone. To ensure Cameron, Dr. Scott interviews Jack while Cameron monitors it. Without Cameron knowing, Dr. Scott mutes the sound before starting to ensure Jack not to be nervous and that he's Cameron. After this interview session, Cameron still feels unsure. And he tells Kate about his doubts. The next interview session is about Poppy and Andre. In this session, Cameron starts to feel that Jack is him. They then make a call to Poppy. This time, Jack is talking to her while Cameron watches. Seeing how Poppy doesn't get anything strange while talking to Jack, Cameron cuts the connection. He starts to hesitate again. Jack then has an argument with Cameron which triggers his seizure. Jack doesn't want Cameron to go back to his family in this condition, so he tries to talk to him again. But it still failed to eliminate Cameron's wish to go home. So Cameron goes home, after giving permission for the access to his lens's camera to Jack. Jack watches him go. He starts to stab the freckles on his hand until it bleeds. Cameron then arrives at his house. Right outside the door, he gets a seizure attack. Dr. Scott sends a car there and tells Cameron to get inside. She then tells Cameron to get back to the island. He needs to be checked and gets his medication changed. While Cameron is unconscious, Dr. Scott gets Jack ready to go back to Cameron's family. Dalton opposes it because he needs to check Jack's mental condition. But Dr. Scott insists and tells him that his opposition will be noted in the contract. So Jack will be home for a 2 weeks trial. If there's no incident, his memory about him being a clone will be wiped out after 2 weeks. Jack is home, and no one finds that he's not Cameron. Except for his dog. He keeps barking at Jack. Cameron wakes up at the facility. He finds out that Jack has gone to his family. He freaks out and yells at Dr. Scott. But Dr. Scott reminds him that he's dying. So he watches the surveillance from Jack's lens and asks everyone to leave him alone. He watches how great Jack is with his family. He then starts to let go. On the last days of Kate's life, Cameron is there for her. Even when they scatter her ashes at the beach, he's also there. But then something goes wrong. Jack takes off his lenses more than when he wears them. Dr. Scott convinces him that it's okay, but he still feels unsure. This makes him have a nightmare. He dreams that Jack is having a meal with his family. Jack is so angry when Corey doesn't listen to him. Cameron can't take it anymore. So he finds the boat key and goes away from the island. He comes home and goes to his working room. He sees how great Jack is for being him. Then Jack comes in. He tells Cameron to do what he wants to do. So Jack hides in the closet while Cameron meets Corey. Cameron is happy seeing Corey looks great. What he sees in his dream is just a dream. After that, he meets Poppy. He says that he has a nightmare. Poppy calms him down and says everything is okay. She tells him how great they are now. Cameron then decides to leave his family to Jack. He goes back to the island and spends his last time there. Dr. Scott sees Cameron to inform him that Jack's memory has been wiped out. He's now Cameron Turner for real. She then asks Cameron to meet a new patient. After that, she shows him something that Jack left for Cameron. In the feed, Jack asks Poppy to say that she loves him. Poppy says how she loves Cameron Turner. And that is the end of the Swan Song movie. Please comment on what you think about the movie, and don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to keep the updates from our channel. See you in the other movie story and bye.